Hi, friend. Is it intense enough for you right now? Even though I am recording this between the eclipses in September of 2025, this content is evergreen. And what that means is that no matter when you're finding this, it's a good time for you to watch it. So if you are finding this at some later date in the future, give yourself permission to hang out and watch it and see if there's something here that resonates with you. But I'm recording this I guess in a response to what's happening with the eclipses right now. I mean, look, let's just kind of lay it out here on the table. You don't have, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to deduce that things are really, really intense right now. And whether your perspective is one of just being internal in your own space, kind of hanging out with the planets and the angels and the guides, it's intense. Whether your experience is one where you are engaged with the outside world, you're watching what's happening on the mainstream news, you're paying attention to the mainstream narratives that are being offered up right now, it's intense. I would say that even if you're freaking in a coma in a bunker 50 feet underground, it's still probably intense. You know, it's one of those moments, and this is what I really think that it comes down to is who you are, like in the purest sense of who you are, versus who you've had to become to survive in this lifetime. And personally speaking, I can just share kind of where I have been. I've been in Sedona for a month, just a little over a month. And it is so intense. Not Sedona, but I mean, although it is intense, but just the energy right now and what's happening between these eclipses and what I am currently dealing with in my own life and my own experience. And it's, I think I can safely say without any exaggeration that the past couple of weeks are unlike any other that I have experienced in this lifetime. In terms of it is incessant, it is nonstop, it is tenacious. It is like even the days where I feel like, oh, I can relax a little bit, I can chill out a little bit. Even the days where I'm just relaxing and chilling out still feel incredibly intense. And I think that really where we are is we're at a crossroads. I found this rock the other day on one of my walks as I was going down to the creek. Crossroads. Like the minute that I saw this, I was like, ding, that is a sign, if I have ever seen a sign. And at a crossroads, there's always a choice. And it's not the choice of chocolate or vanilla. It's not the choice of should I have, a sandwich or a salad. It's the choice of how am I going to navigate the next phase? And I'd say we're talking a minimum, a 15-year cycle that we're looking at right now. But how am I going to move through the world during this next phase? Which version of me is driving the bus? What is the script I am reading from? What is the belief system that's informing who I believe myself to be and how I move through the world? The things that I believe are possible, the things that I believe are unavailable to me, all of it, what I'm here for, what I'm not available for, like all of that. How I just live, how I perceive myself within this experience of humanness. And that might not seem like anything new, but the threshold that we are standing at is one where we have never stood before. Collectively, we are being given a choice. Which version of you is driving the bus? Is it the version of you that is rooted in your history of trauma and suffering and unlovability and scarcity and lack and illness and depression and anxiety? I mean, you name it. Is that the version of you that you are going to continue to listen to and serve and pour yourself into? Is that the version of your identity that you want to try and sustain and keep active and viable and alive? Or is it the version of you that is the divine self, the eternal self, the infinite, powerful, sovereign creator self who understands that they are the center of their reality. They are the center of the universe, and in truth, really are the only being that exists in all of their reality. Yeah. Everybody that you're engaged with, every physical being out there that you're talking to, hanging out with, married to, having lunch with, talking on the phone, whatever, that's a version of them that only exists in your reality. But I digress. So, which version of you drives the bus? Which version of you are you going to allow to co-create with you? Because guess what? If I have a choice between co-creating with someone who's just an Eeyore, right, stuck in misery and suffering and trauma and wounding all of the time, or if I have an opportunity to co-create with someone who's, let's go, I'm excited, we can do this, we are powerful, let's do it, come on, yeah, I'm excited, let's see what's up there, what's this? I'm going with that version. I'm going with the version that believes in possibility. I'm going with the version that defaults to compassion and kindness and curiosity. I'm defaulting with the version of me that knows it's effortless. It takes just as much work to create a life that's horrible as it does to create a life that's wonderful. So, which one are you going to choose? And I know it's not easy. I know it's really intense and overwhelming right now, but you have to give yourself permission to choose something new. Over the past year, I have been in a really, really intense place, living with my father in the town I grew up in, helping him transition because of his Alzheimer's diagnosis, helping him transition to assisted living, also dealing with my own stuff and my own issues and my own healing and everything that was going on within my life over the past year. And one of the most interesting things, this move to Sedona was totally spontaneous and was a total leap of faith. There's a couple of videos here on my channel called Road to Sedona. Watch them if you're interested in knowing more. But basically, I moved here with about this much information. I had a set of instructions that said, move to Sedona, find an Airbnb, move to Sedona, and find an apartment. Check, check, check. I did all those. Here I am, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't fully understand why I'm here, but here's what I find to be so fascinating. The road of my history, right? The suffering, the trauma, the pain, all of that, the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD, all of which I have healed within myself. There's that path. There's that version of reality, which feels scary and overwhelming and like, oh, I don't know. I can't do that anymore. There's no way I can do that. Like, that just feels so unappealing. It just feels like I just can't do that. That is a slow but sure death. That is a slow but certain death. And interestingly, the path forward into the unknown, in this new chapter, in this new reality, in this new beginning, in this new version of self, in this new town, in this new apartment, like everything is new. That also feels scary and overwhelming and like, oh God, can I do that? Am I powerful enough? Am I, able going to be able to sustain that? That feels scary too. So here's how I've been looking at it is if both options at the crossroads feel overwhelming and daunting and intimidating and like, oh God, I don't know if I can do that. If both of them feel like that, then what's the thing that makes my choice easier? Or what's the thing that helps me clarify which version of reality I'm choosing? Well, first of all, I know what the past is. I lived it. That's 53 years worth of living that I have been present for every step of the way. And I already know what that story is, and I'm not interested in living that anymore. But the mind is like, oh, but that's familiar. That's what we know. That's where we have a sense of control. That's where we have a sense of, agency. So let's do that because I know how to do that. No, I don't want to do that anymore. So, how I have been clarifying it for myself is what I know to be true is that our guides, our helpers, angels, loved ones in spirit, whatever beings we're working with, they cannot help us move away from ourselves. To move away from yourself is to deny yourself, is to live in illusion, is to live in delusion, is to pretend la 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 la, I can't hear it. Your guides and helpers cannot help you move away from yourself. That's antithetical. That's the opposite of why they exist and what their role is. They can help you move towards yourself, find your center, find your power, find your authority, find your gifts, find, all of that stuff. So if both of my options and choices are overwhelming and feel a little scary, I'm going with the one where my helpers can actually help me, where my guides can actually guide me, where my angels can actually, watch over me. And that's the path of moving forward. That's the path of the new reality, new earth ascension timeline. And that is 100% one that is co-creation. That is when you have your helpers with you and you're all sitting around the same table going, okay, how are we going to do this? I'll take this part, you take this part, you do that, and we'll all come together and create the sum of something that is much more exciting and fulfilling and rewarding and inspiring than its parts. Because the path of history, the path of continuing to say yes to limitation, the path to continue to say yes to suffering and misery, that's a path I'm walking on my own. Because my guides can't help me deny myself. They can't help me leave my center. The best thing that our guides can do, in fact, the only thing that they can do when we decide to deny ourselves and stick our head in the sands and la la la, I can't hear you. The only thing that they can do is scream from the sidelines saying, "Hey, I'm over here. Hey, you're going in the wrong direction. If you want to be, supported and guided and helped actively, if you want me to walk by your side, you got to move over here in this direction. You are over here, not over there." So even though it feels scary, even though it feels overwhelming, even though it feels daunting, to continue to choose the path of your history is certain death. I mean, we're all dying, right? None of us are getting out of this alive anyway. But it's the quality of your experience. And I've talked about this back in 2012 when I had my big awakening and I finally surrendered and gave in. I knew very clearly in that moment that if I said no one more time, I would be dead within probably 2 years. I don't think that if I had said no, I think by 2015 I would have been gone, or I at least would have been in a life that was so miserable and so unhappy that I may as well have been dead. So I know how hard it feels to leap. I know how hard it feels to pick yourself up and move in the direction of the unknown. I know how scary it is to stare into the abyss and know that you are being called to take a big, big leap, to invest in yourself, to bet on yourself, to pour yourself into yourself, and for once choose what you want. For once choose what inspires you. For once to follow your own little bright, sparkly, shiny curiosities and nudges and taps on the shoulder that spirit and your guides and your angels and your helpers are giving you to say, hey, it's over here. Think of it this way, though. Is it really a leap of faith if it's something that's already yours? Is it really a leap of faith if all you're doing is moving towards the version of you that is healthy, balanced, thriving, fulfilled, satisfied? It's just you. It's just a more expanded, more fulfilled version of you that has a greater capacity. It's still you, though. Sure, you may not be that version of yourself in this moment, but that version of you exists. And so, what you're really doing is you're leaping into a reality that is waiting for you. You're leaping into a timeline that is holding space for you. And the minute that you jump in, the minute that you say yes to crossing that threshold of the unknown, you will be met by forces of assistance and guidance that will blow your mind. I cannot tell you in the month that I have been here in Sedona, And when I say that the only thing I knew was Spirit said, book an Airbnb, figure out your route to Sedona, go, and everything else will come to you. Everything else will fall in your lap. I found an apartment in 3 days in a neighborhood that every single person I've ever talked to in Sedona is like, I can't believe you found an apartment there for what you're paying, because I am paying really, really, really affordable rent. The assistance and the support that I have had from the divine, from my human friends, from like, it's unbelievable to me how at every single step I have been guided and supported and held in ways that I had no way of knowing were going to show up for me. But that's the deal. When you leap, spirit will catch you because you are spirit. Why would she deny herself? Why would God say no to itself? Why would God watch itself jump into the unknown and go, oh, okay, well, I don't feel like catching you? No. It's, so I understand the uncertainty and I understand how overwhelming that can be. And I understand the illusions of stability and control are very seductive, but that's exactly what they are, illusions. You don't have control. You only have anxiety about the things you want to control. And ironically, the safest place or the way to access your inherent safety and protection and guidance is to root into here. It is not found out here. Because if you don't have a sense of safety and connection that you have cultivated and fostered for yourself, and you know what that feels like, it cannot show up for you out here. So, the whole point of this passage, and as we move towards the eclipse, which, by the way, on the 21st for the equinox, I have a gathering happening. I'll put all the information in the description below. Equinox gathering Monday night, the 22nd. Y'all know it's going to be powerful because everything I do is powerful. And we're also in a really, really potent moment. Also, starting on October 4th, I have another round of small group coaching. It's limited to 6 people for 6 weeks. Check out all the information in the description box below. But if you have a choice between two paths, both are intense, both feel overwhelming, both feel a little bit like, oh. And the only difference between the two is one is a path that you are walking away from your help, your support, your center, and yourself. Or one is a path where you are distinctly and decidedly and unequivocally returning back to your center and opening the door for your helpers to come in and support you. I know which one I'm choosing. But you have to decide. You have to decide. It's up to you. It's your life. You're the one in charge. You are the creator being who created you and your body, who gave you the timeline and the helpers and the assistants and the all of it is you giving it to yourself. So which choice are you going to make? So what do you do in the meantime? What do we do when we're kind of in the middle? Right? We're not where we were. We're not yet where we're going. We're still kind of in this bridge moment. I'm leaning into my daily practices. I'm meditating at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. I'm going really, really easy on myself, not pushing myself, not forcing myself, not being too hard on myself. I'm drinking a ton of water, even more than I usually do. I'm sleeping as often as I can, as much as I can. I'm stretching, I'm moving slowly, I'm getting out in nature, I'm being deliberate and mindful. I've just pulled my life in. My circle of experience and existence right now is just right here. And that's enough for now. That's enough. I know that when spirit needs me, she'll let me know. But now is not the time to be making up busy work or making up excuses to to, be hard on yourself or force yourself or, really, really grind and hustle. This is a moment of quiet, of stillness, of spaciousness, of deep, intentional, mindful breath. And this, the mind, is on overdrive right now. I talked about this in the September video. The mind is trying everything it can to keep you locked in the old world because that's the only place that the mind is really relevant in terms of its belief that it's in charge. And come on, let's give the mind a break. It's not in charge because it staged a coup. The mind is in charge because for the past several thousand years, we have been elevating the intellect to the place of expert, and it's not because the mind is just a computer. All it can do is know things historically. All it does is consume knowledge, organize, categorize it, and regurgitate it, which is very important, by the way. But the mind is not the genius. The mind is not the visionary. The mind is not the one that knows what's happening next or what's around the corner. The mind only knows how to use history as a framework for what is next. So its expectations are 100% rooted in what already hasn't worked. And where we are right now collectively is we are finally liberating ourselves from the past several thousand years where we were given a very, very narrow, very specific set of parameters that were required for us to follow and abide by if we wanted to be a good human. We all know that was the biggest sham in the history of humanity, at least this version of humanity. So this is about deciding for yourself what kind of life you want to live. This is about remembering that only you know what truth feels like. This is about understanding that you are here in this body on this planet at this time because you chose to be, because you wanted to be. You were given a box of magic. So what are you going to do with it? And are you finally ready to say to the controllers, the powers that were, and I'm talking about the very real physical ones that exist out here, but I'm also talking about the ones that live within you, the ones that want you small and invisible, the ones that like suffering, the ones that like difficulty, the ones that thrive in uncertainty and illness and trauma. Are you going to let those versions of self be the ones that drive the bus, be the ones that dictate what's true, what's not, what's possible, what's not, what's available, what's not? Are you going to let those voices and those intelligences and levels of consciousness be the ones that decide who and what you are and what you experience and what you live? Or are you going to let the eternal, infinite, expanded, powerful, limitless version of you decide what's next? It's as simple as rewriting your script, but you have to give yourself permission to do so. It's your life. What are you going to do with it? That's what this moment is all about. That's what this month is all about. Just keep showing up. Do your best to put all this on mute, to go in and find those depths and find those spaces and ask for help. For the love of God, ask for help. Just say, Spirit, I'm here. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what's next, but I'm here. I know what I want. I know what I hope for. Or maybe I know what I don't want. I know what I'm done with. Either way, there's some clarity, but I need help. I need help forward. I need guides. I need assistance. I need sustenance. I need resources, whatever it is that you need. but you have to be the one to decide. The old world is waiting for someone to do it for you, right? Oh, well, let's just wait for the politicians to come on and tell us what to do. Oh, well, let's just wait for this organization, this paradigm, this institution to tell me what to do and where to go. Or you can tap in here. You can ask a higher power. You can ask a power that has no superior, that answers only to itself. But you have to decide. You have to choose. Now, that doesn't mean you take action right away. That just means that you say, I'm choosing the path of expansion, acceleration, ascension in the new earth. I may not be actively moving in that direction yet, but I'm here and I'm ready to go. And the moment that spirit says jump, I will. So, right now is about the decision, not necessarily the action. The action will come later, but right now, just decide. Is it liberation and truth, or is it fear and illusion? Either choice, totally up to you. It's a free will reality. You can choose whichever one you want, but you have to choose. I love you.